All right, so today I'm here with Emilio Takas, all the way in Greece. Did I say that right? I'm sorry if I butchered it.
Yep. Emilio Takas, all the way from Athens, Greece.
Ah, so beautiful, and your voice is so incredible.
Thank
It's
you,
like
thank you so,
perfect for this podcast for radio.
thank, thank you so much, and I'm very, honored to be here on this podcast, and especially talking with you because um, a lot of people that listen to this podcast and also will watch it on YouTube, they know that you are one of the kindest person in our community. I'm telling that from
me
heart
and
because
me and Renee Ritchie. I'm holding his mug
Rene,
right now.
yes. And the thing is that you can tell from the character of someone, my personal opinion, from his smile and his face. And we can say at least that you have a huge smile and you're a great person.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just love what I do, and hopefully that shows in the work that I make. And the same is true for you, man. I've been watching your YouTube stuff now, and we've kind of become acquaintances or friends now on the Clubhouse app. That's where we really got to talk to each other. You're very active on Clubhouse. Tell me about your experience on Clubhouse. Why have you really grown a liking to that app?
Clubhouse for me, it was something that for a lot of people is no, I don't want to mess with that. But what I liked is being over 30s, all right? Basically, I'm 35 years old. And we lived the era where we had phone calls, right?
Uh-huh.
We lived it very strong before the SMSs and the texts and all that stuff. And having the opportunity to talk with other people that probably you would never meet, like we met together, right? It was in a room that we were talking and have the opportunity to meet new people just from the voice and without the need, even the camera. A lot of times we say, I'm going to get a bath, I'm going to fix my hair, I'm going to wear the hat so I don't show to the audience that my hair are dropping. They don't like me anymore. So having just to put your earpods, for example, and talk with other people is an opportunity that I never imagined. And I believe that is going to be a huge success also for Twitter Spaces, the Space, the other app, and other apps that they're going to uh, use on that motive. However, it's a very good place to have conversations and talk. In my opinion, not for long hours, okay? Because a lot of rooms are taking like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours.
I know. It's
And
crazy.
also, what is kind of strange for me is that there are, and I don't want to, get confused from what I'm gonna say, probably because it's my English, but there are a lot of experts there
Yeah.
in a lot of rooms.
In quotations, right? Experts.
A lot of experts like get money, get rich, you don't
Yeah.
have to work, and I'm like, where am I living? Because I have to work to get money. Like nothing is coming for free, right?
It's so true, man. It's so true. Yeah, I think it's a really novel app right now. And by the way, if you're listening to the show and maybe you still aren't even aware of what Clubhouse is, basically Clubhouse is kind of like a Zoom call with multiple people, and there's a host, and that host can bring up speakers, so you can have multiple speakers, and then you can have up to what is like 6,000 listeners, I think now.
Yep,
I,
yep.
I believe the Elon Musk did one a couple of weeks ago, and I believe that was maybe one of the first ones that really crashed the app a little bit, because you can only have 6,000 people there, and obviously more than 6,000 people would like to hear Elon Musk speak. And so I noticed multiple people were doing like rooms playing the audio from the main room, and there's a lot of people doing hacks and things, recording the calls and putting them on YouTube, even though you're not allowed to do that. You're not supposed to
That's
do
not
that.
good. That's not good
Yeah.
because you see that on the terms, right? On the terms of Clubhouse. And I was in a conversation 2 days ago that they told me, yeah, but we disclose that. We say it's recorded. And I'm like,
Okay.
yeah, but the terms of service, TOS of the app says no recording. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I
i
don't know how it's
wonder
going to end.
I wonder how that's going to change through time, if Clubhouse will allow recording or not. I think the reason why it's working so well is because it's so immediate, and it is like going to a live seminar or something, especially when you have these really high level creators there. I remember I was going to sleep. It was like 10:30 at night. I was really tired. I shot, video all day, and I was ready to go to bed, and then I got a notification that Mr. Beast started a room, and I was like, oh no, I have to listen to this. And there's no other app or no other thing that would have caused that much urgency for me to stay up. I think I ended up staying up till 2 a.m. listening to this Clubhouse, because once it's gone, it's gone. I would have completely missed out on that opportunity to hear that conversation, because it's not recorded, it's not saved even for 24 hours. And it did make me stay up late, but it's interesting that that format allows this immediacy and this kind of live aspect to it. That's what makes it special, in my opinion.
And also, for especially the kind of our niche, cinematographers, filmmakers, I was in a room in about 2 weeks ago, and there were producers on Netflix, producers on HBO, directors, casting agents, Tyrese Gibson, the actor. And I was like,
Wow.
am I here in this room now? Like,
That's amazing.
especially living in a country, and not even city, a country that is far, far away from the LA and from where the whole action happens,
Yeah.
getting in a room just to hear what's their opinion, how they work, how are their sets, how they're picking the talents. And especially if you're an actor as well, like, how am I
Totally.
going to start? And have the opportunity to be in that room and listen to that people. You
Yeah.
listen to experience, you listen to, and I believe you gain a lot of knowledge out of nowhere, right?
Sure.
free out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. The internet is just continue with an app like this. It just continues to kind of make the world seem kind of flat. Like, obviously it's around Earth and we live very far away from each other. I mean, but here we are. I'm living in Nashville, Tennessee, and you're in Athens, Greece, and we're having a conversation as if we
Exactly.
were sitting across from each other having coffee together.
Exactly. And this is one of the things that I'm very thankful, first of all, for the internet, if I can say, because that's the human connection, the connection that you can have with people that you share the same interests.
Yeah,
Because you don't find that very often. You
it's
get
true.
musicians, because I play music as well, and it's one of my biggest loves as well. And I remember that we were in a room in Clubhouse, okay, with another creator, and I grabbed my guitar. He grabbed his guitar. Another woman was playing the piano, and someone started playing the drums, and we were
Oh wow.
like, okay, now we're jamming.
That's awesome. It's a
From
it's a live
different,
jam session.
yeah,
Did
yeah,
it There's no
from
way it
different
worked
places.
though, right? There was a lag, right? Like, it wasn't perfect, I would imagine.
No, no, just one guy had the lag, and he was like, yeah, sorry guys, but I'm gonna improvise, and we're like, it's okay, chill. We're
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's really amazing. And obviously, you and I are in our I turned 30 last year. So I think you mentioned you're in your 30s as well, right?
Yeah.
So
30, 35. I'm an old guy.
great. That's awesome.
Old
But
guy for YouTube.
well, yeah, me too. I mean, I'm coming up in that age bracket where I'm starting to be removed from the next generation of up and coming creators who grew up watching YouTube when they were children. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when YouTube was invented and somebody telling me, and I was confused what it was. And, being a millennial, that basically meant I grew up without the internet as a child, and I got it early, later in life. And it is just so crazy that, my kids are growing up with an iPad with, they're able to watch Daniel Tiger on the Apple TV whenever they want. It's a different world for them. And I'm interested to see how they, continue to utilize it. We see all these great creators coming up now, even in our niche, different tech YouTubers and stuff that are, teenagers. There's a couple guys that have reached out to me that are like 16, 17 years old doing tech reviews,
And they're doing great
and they're
things.
doing great.
Dave, if we be a little bit nostalgic right now, we will remember that when we were kids, first of all, MP3s, I remember, like, we were spending like a whole day to download one track of MP3 in
Yeah.
Napster. And we're saying, yeah, man, I'm going to take 2 weeks to have the full album. But yeah, but aside
And
from that,
LimeWire, did you use that too?
yes,
Mhm.
yeah, no, the heroes, no,
Yeah, no, no,
yeah,
no.
no. But I'm gonna point specifically to the art of videography. Videography and photography was something that you needed to have a lot of money
Yeah.
to film. Like I remember my first Minolta camera for with films, and then when I got the Nikon, and I was like, wow. And then we got into the digital, and my first digital camera was 640 by 480 pixels, and I was like,
Nice.
man, you can have the photo and place it on your computer screen, like, wow.
Yeah.
And the expensive cameras was very expensive, and it wasn't, that's why you needed a professional photographer, for example, for your wedding.
Yeah.
Now we all lived in these days, everyone can get a DSLR and he can name himself, what do you do? I'm a wedding photographer, I'm a wedding videographer, because there is a lot of information in the public. And also, one of the main things for the tutorials as well that I follow on my channel is that we give the opportunity to give knowledge and things that we learn, through the years for free, and make other people learn new things. Because if you remember, we didn't have all this source of knowledge for free
Yeah.
available for us.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm very proud of the new generation. And I have to say that because I'm very new to TikTok, right? I'm like a baby in TikTok. And I remember that I downloaded and I start, scrolling, and I was like, dude, what are they doing? They're like 15 years old. And yeah, okay, they're all, all the, I don't know if you've seen the video. And now I'm moving like, people that they're listening us to the podcast. So go to YouTube if you want to understand what I'm doing right now. But they get people, we see that the new filmmakers, the new era, they're doing like something
Yeah. It's
all the time.
crazy.
And we see the results, like the Daniel Schiffer results, right, on the
Oh yeah,
on the
he's
way
great.
on the
Daniel
way that
Schiffer.
they film. And their
Hmm.
kids, that they're doing commercials for
Yep.
products
Yeah.
for fun. We were playing basketball
Exactly.
or playing the guitar in the band, and
Sure.
I'm impressed. And I don't know the next 10 years. That's why I told you I feel a little bit old, because we on the 30s, if we had, I know for sure, if we had this kind of technology when we were young, yes, of
Mhm.
course, we would be better, right?
Sure.
Imagine you have a kid right now, and your
Yeah.
kid is going to say, I want to start videography.
Mhm.
Give me the A7S3.
Or I mean, even I know everybody always uses this as an example, but obviously, mobile phones are so good now too that you could just give a kid that and they could start there. I mean, there's
Exactly. Exactly.
plenty of great ways to use a phone. Um, so let's talk about you and like your journey as a filmmaker and now as a content creator on the internet. How did you begin your career? I mean, were you a filmmaker, a freelance creator, editor? Just tell me your story.
I started first of all as graphic designer. I started as graphic designer and photography. For a lot of graphic designers, photography and videography are their passions because you're in the creative field in general. And then I remember myself as a graphic designer from the early, about 2004. I started with HTML into the web designing and how you can. That's why I said I'm very thankful for the internet in general, because it
Yeah.
opened new dimensions and ways in my career. And I was following videography and photography just as a hobby, but a passionate hobby. For example, we were going vacations. I was in a full set, and I had my wife, for example, okay, and now go here. Please come again back so we can make the travel videos. And I have a very good friend from school, Stavros, that he has a photo studio for weddings, etc., and this kind of ceremonies. And about 8 years ago, he told me, "Hey, man, do you want to come and help me? With the wedding." So I started on the Department of Weddings to do videography and photography. But if when it's not a big budget wedding, usually a creator has a camera for the photos, a camera for the videos, so you can go to people and
Yeah.
cover the whole, and then going to the editing and editing. And that's how I was introduced to a more professional way of videography and filmmaking. Then I moved on to commercial and to corporate works, and with interviews and stuff like that here. The video editing now was that I'm a very strong supporter of the tutorials, as I said before, because you give the opportunity to have free knowledge to people that they want to become video editors. And that was something that, first of all, I was thankful for people like Ripple Training, for example, for Final Cut, or Mari Hapoya for, I remember I still his first videos on how to color grade, or Film Riot, legends, and a video co-pilot. Now, I'm telling you, people that, especially Film Riot and Video Copilot, they were with the old versions, the After Effects one that they
Yeah.
were doing tutorials. And as I grew up on the video editing, I said to myself that I wanted to create a YouTube channel so I can give pass a little bit of what I got, as a video editor when I began, and share the knowledge, whatever knowledge I gain. For example, the ways I do tutorials is that I see an effect in a movie or in a TV show, and I say, okay, how can we recreate that to Final Cut?
Yeah.
How we can, and also you have the opportunity to work with other brands as well that they have plugins, and then my point of view is how I'm going to create something interesting for the viewer that at the end of the video he's going to say, I gained something, you know, I learned something after I watched this video, and this is for me the biggest reward out of this journey on YouTube so far.
That's amazing. And you just told me about TikTok as well. Like you're starting
No,
to
no,
play
no,
around
no.
with that.
Just playing around. No, I don't think, you know, something that I told you also before. I believe for these kind of videos, if you don't go to the way of instructing how to do cinematic B-roll, and that's something that I don't want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
I don't see TikTok how it's going to be effective if you're not in your native language. For example, the thing that I'm struggling a lot and I'm trying to solve is how I'm going to be more myself, not in the native language. And this is practice. This is if you're talking not your in English all day, so you can express also your feelings. For example, this right now, the podcast and that we're talking, I'm Emilio. But when I'm doing a video or I'm creating a tutorial, I'm more anxious. I want to do it right, or I'm doing a gear review. I want to have the script. Don't forget to say that. Or don't forget. It's not very easy to say, okay, for example, this is the camera and it does this, and this is how I use it. It's more easy when you do it in your native language.
Yeah.
And one of the goals for the future. But TikTok, I believe, you need to be more you need to have humor. You need to be a little bit more into the era of the trendy as well, because I can't I'm a boomer. The title Emilio Takas,
Are you
a
really a
boomer.
boomer? No, you're not. You're not a
No,
boomer.
you know what I mean. Like, I remember I had a conversation with a girl that she was 18 years old, and the way they were talking about things, I was like, "Oh, are you doing that?" And she was like, "You're a boomer," you know. And I was like,
That's
"Okay."
hilarious. I mean, let's go over your YouTube channel. And I think some of the things that are working really well for you right now is you're really dialing in your thumbnail design, your titles, and you're really diving into this niche really well that you're in with Final Cut, with Macintosh and things like that. Let's see, what's your most popular? Your most popular video is the dolly zoom vertigo effect and the
Hmm.
VHS effect free overlay pack, flickering glitch effect. What was that? I mean, that was 2 years ago, a year ago. Were you trying to be more in the editing niche, and then now you're transitioning into kind of reviewing all sorts of different things and also doing that? I mean, what would you say your niche is exactly?
Very good question. So the main niche of is niche or niche, first
It
of all.
so I had this argument or this discussion with my friend Jevin Dovey, and we looked it up, and in the dictionary you can actually pronounce it both ways. There's no
Okay.
right or wrong way, so you can
Okay.
say niche or niche, whichever one you want.
Okay. So my niche basically is video editing tutorials in Final Cut Pro.
Hmm.
I because I teach Final Cut Pro, I use Final Cut Pro. I'm a huge lover of Apple
Me,
products.
me
Okay.
too. I'm a big
Yep.
Final Cut Pro fan.
And also, when you're in Apple products, we already know you need to be in the ecosystem. So you need to have an iPhone, you need to have an iPad, because yeah, they get you into that. They're very success to what they do, and also the huge love of the gear reviews and how you can help creators do the best in the budget, more budget, to film the videos that they're gonna edit together
Totally.
is
Yeah.
something that I totally love. However, when you do a transition, as you know, when you want to make a change, because I'm a true believer that first of all, you can do whatever you want with your channel. If you're not going to use the channel just for money, okay, and you do that because you enjoy the whole process, you can do. And I remember also Peter McKinnon said that in one of his videos, like, it's my channel, I'm going to do whatever I want. And I know that a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but we want more Final Cut Pro tutorials. Okay. We don't want to see how you use the M1 Mac. I understand you. I got some for you as well. But I got something. And um, there is this thing that when you say that I'm doing something for the people who watch me, but also I want to do things for things that I want to. And
Yeah.
Sarah Dietzy said that. I remember she was very
Yeah.
clever, like one for me, two for you, something like that, or one for
Yeah.
me, one for you. That's that,
Exactly.
that's a very great example of that. Now, the gear reviews definitely are going to stay to the channel. For the tech reviews, is something that I wanted to do, but I'm far away. And to be honest, I tried that, but just imagine something new is coming,
Yeah.
and you talk with the company or the PR, and to travel through customs, through the ocean, and come to you, you get 1.5 months.
Wow.
So yeah, I would love to, but yeah, it's kind of a difficult thing to. So that
Sure.
creates something a little bit unique, that you need to be creative. Like for
Yeah.
example, I'm creating now the video for Insta360 that I'm gonna post next week on the channel, and I was like, yeah, I received it 3 months later.
Yeah.
So you can't do a usual review like, and yeah, these are the text, or a usual unboxing. You need to be a little bit more creative. This is something that I'm working very much lately, so how I can do the videos more interesting to the viewers. And also, I want to say also to the listeners that they are creators and they're doing YouTube, don't get discouraged from the views, because YouTube algorithm has a special way that works. We
Mhm.
might never find out how it works, how it's, yeah, how it favors creators and how not. The thing is that when you're happy, I'm happy. For example, I have a video for the TCL on the channel. I remember I worked 5 days for that video, right? And I'm so proud. I believe it doesn't have even 500 views on the channel. But the final result for me was that I enjoyed creating the whole video, and that's a win. Now,
Yeah.
eventually, I believe, because when you love what you do, your channel is going to grow. It might take 1 year, 2 years. For example, I'm 2.5 years on YouTube, and I have almost 30,000 subscribers that I never dreamed. If I go back 2.5 years ago, I would never think that from Athens, Greece, I would have 80% of my viewership in the US and Canada,
Yeah.
and almost 30,000 subscribers.
That's amazing.
So I believe after 1 or 2 years that people are going to see my channel, even for the first time, they're going to say, let's see, what else has this person created,
Yeah.
right? Going back. And then it's going to be we still see videos from Marcus Brownlee, right? When he was kid from Algorithm.
I know that it's always like one of his first videos from like 9 years ago or something crazy. And by the way, you're at 29.7 thousand. So if you're listening to this and Emilio still hasn't hit 30, go over to YouTube and search for his channel and subscribe right now. Let's get him to 30,000. Let's do it. I think it's
Thank you.
totally possible. You're almost there, only a couple hundred away. I'd like to transition into M1 Mac because I'm using one right now. I'm using the M1 Mac Mini. I ended up I did buy the base model version, and I ended up getting the maxed out version because I found that 8 gigabytes of RAM wasn't enough for me with Final Cut. What are your thoughts on it as a full-time, Final Cut editor? And obviously, it's interesting how many views that thing gets. I mean, I'm looking at your channel and all your
Mhm.
M1 Mac videos perform really well. And I've
Yep.
had other friends tell me the same thing. I think there's a lot of people interested in this new Apple Silicon right now.
Let me tell you, for the M1 Max, first of all, before I begin, I want people to know that we cannot compare this kind of machine with professional machines that people use to create videos in Netflix, in documentaries with huge productions, or in Hollywood movies. There is a reason, and a strong reason, why we have Mac Pro.
Yes.
Okay,
And
so
and Intel Max as well still have a place
exactly,
right
because
now.
this is something that everyone should know before we begin the conversation of M1 Max. Now,
Mhm.
also, M1 Max, because there's something new, it's a new processor, a lot of third-party companies that they have plugins, they don't work yet on M1 Max. So if you're a user that even if you're using Logic or Final Cut or
Yeah.
other Apple native apps, but you use third-party plugins, don't expect to work well in the new system yet.
Yeah.
As we have covered that, now let's say this, that with a new processor, Apple made a machine that we already saw. It can compare with Mac Pro. It can compare with the top spec MacBook Pros
Yep.
in terms of speed. It's something that it's very budget friendly to begin with. And that's why on my video as well, I said, if you're doing video editing, and you're a YouTuber that also you have the Sony A7S III, for example, and you want to work on the 10-bit, on 120 frames per second. On an Intel-based Mac, it's going to be very hard without proxies, or you won't even be able to do that. But here you can do that. And of course, you're not going to be able to do that with 8 gigabytes of memory RAM because, and I have a video that explained that, the whole thing of the unified memory and how this structure works is that it takes power from the memory, from the SSD, and from the GPU. So whatever needs more power, it gives it to that. And by default, if you remember with the 8 gig, because I had the 8 gig, I returned it, I got the 16
Yeah.
gigabyte. And the thing is that by idle, it's almost 7 gigabyte all the time
I
in
know.
the
Yeah,
RAM.
it's true.
So it was using the unified from the SSD. Now, the big question is for people, because a lot of people had, is this good? Is it okay? Yeah, it's perfect. For the money that you get it, it's perfect. And even if you don't have an expensive monitor, having a 200 bucks monitor, so you can work with that, it's even more perfect.
Yeah.
If you don't need a computer right now and you want to wait for the new iMacs, wait for the new iMacs. If you want to wait for the new Mac Pro, wait for the new Mac Pro if you don't need
Yeah.
something now. But if you want, for example, I have a friend that he's building his YouTube channel right now. And he was telling me, what camera should I get? What computer? What? And I was like, get the Mac Mini. Get the Mac Mini, get the 8 gigabyte if you can afford it. Go for the 16 because you're starting now. So you're not gonna do super, you're gonna start, for example, with the
Yeah.
Sony A6100. It's okay. You can edit that. And people always don't expect more than they already get. I remember with the Sony A7S III, a lot of people were saying, yeah, but it doesn't have electronic ND. Yeah, it doesn't have electronic ND. It doesn't have S in a tone. We got it. Yeah, we
It
got
does
it
now.
today. Yeah, we have it. And this is gonna make you a better creator. For me, it didn't. It didn't make me a better creator. I
Yeah, of
got it.
course.
Like if I work hard, if I film more, if I edit more, if I learn knowledge more from people like Valentina V, for example, for lighting.
Mhm.
She makes a video, a masterclass, 5 minutes masterclass, for example, or other people like Brandon Lee. If you wanna be better to that, it's not only the equipment that you use.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be a better video editor if you have the M1 Mac, but you're gonna have a quicker workflow, right? It's not gonna stack. It's gonna be easier for you.
Yeah, I mean, what I've found is that it's just so much faster at simple tasks like going through your clips and just scrubbing through the timeline. And like you said, there's certain codecs that are almost impossible to view, even on a expensive Intel Mac like the XT3 or the XT4's H.265
Mhm.
10-bit, or like you said, the A7S 10-bit. One of my good friends, Jevin Dovey, he shoots everything on the A7S, and he bought the computer simply to be able to use the footage and be able to see it. And we are in this weird time right now where, as we're recording this, it's uh, late February 2021, and later this year we'll start to see more computers that'll probably be better than these in terms of processing speed and graphics performance. But as of right now, the cheapest computer that Apple makes is pretty much as powerful as the most expensive laptop that they make as well. I had a maxed out 16-inch MacBook Pro from last year. I spent, I think, $3,500 on it, and I sold it and bought
Like a
this.
lot of people, like a lot of people.
It was a great machine. And I've been doing some really intense motion graphics recently. I've been doing some Instagram ads for some clients, and I've been noticing that the M1 Mac does struggle a little bit when I start adding 5 layers of animation and graphics.
Adjustment layers. If you go color grading, too much color grading, it's gonna struggle. For example, the 8 gigs for me, after I worked for it for a week, I saw this message that you ran out of memory. It was
Yep.
pretty logical because I was trying to do that. I was
Yeah,
saying, when are you
exactly.
gonna break? Please, like this is not
Totally.
possible. You're 8 gigabytes of memory RAM. Like
Yeah.
how?
I used to have 32 gigs of RAM in my MacBook Pro, and I do feel like the 16 gigs is working, but I still think I personally, as a working professional, would like to have 32 gigs of RAM. And I think that,
M1X,
yeah,
M1X.
M1X, it's coming soon, right?
Yep, yep. And that's the struggle that a lot of times people they keep, even for iPhones. You remember the era with iPhones. You got 2 cameras, you got 3 cameras, and they were like, yeah, but we need more. Like, what do you want? What?
Exactly. I think it's so amazing. I think I'll probably keep this computer and just I'll buy the probably the 16-inch with the M1X. And then I'll use this as like a render machine or something else. But for now, my friend Jevin, I was trying to go back and forth like, should I just sell my Intel Mac and buy this? And he was like, do you think the M1 will make its money back in the next 6 months? And I'm like,
Yes,
probably, yes.
yes,
So I was like, all
totally.
right, I guess I'll just go ahead and get it. So that's why I got it. But because the speed increase is so significant that it's legitimately speeding up my workflow. But we both are Final Cut editors. If you're in Adobe Premiere, then there's really no reason to get this because you're still using an emulated version of Premiere because they haven't done a native
Yet,
version of it. Not yet. Yeah.
yet. That's why I told you that there are also applications that they're not working natively yet. They're running through Rosetta, and that's why people need to see for every equipment that they use. And that's something that I usually say to all of my gear reviews videos. Do you really need it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fancy. Yeah, it's okay. It's nice. Yeah, it does this and do you need it? Right. For example, when I got the A7S III, I was shooting with the A6500. Okay. And I want to have a full frame, the full frame look. I want to have the A7S as a camera. And when it came out, I said to myself, I'm gonna get a camera that is gonna last me for at least 5 years.
Mhm.
So that's why I don't care when I see the FX3 came out, the FX6. Yeah, you got a camera for a reason.
Mhm.
And it's a different thing, the camera with the computer, because, for example, on the computer, you need to have a better workflow. On the camera, there are a lot of things. You need to like this camera, you need to be attractive to this camera, you need to feel creative with this. We are not very normal people, you know. We have a lot of
It's true. Yeah, we're not normal at all. This is all very it's silly, but it is what it is.
exactly. So for example, now I'm trying to get my hands on a Ninja 5 from Atomos, right? Because I say, is it
Yeah.
gonna be better? Like, I want to see. A lot of
For
people
Raw.
have it. Yeah, is it better?
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. I think the 10-bit 422 and the A7S is so good that, and it's so easy to work with that the added weight and kind of inconvenience of the Ninja to me is a turnoff. But you do get a little bit more pro control. Maybe you should just rent one and try it out.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
if you have
I
a
will definitely
friend,
do that
if you
this
have a friend
month,
that has one, you might even be able
because
to reach out to them and have them send you one for a review or something.
we have time. We have time. The thing is that what I'm trying to say is that, and I say that 3 times already, but the thing is that when you have the opportunity on a file, especially for color grading, that you don't need Lumetri Color or DaVinci Resolve to grade, because let's face it, Final Cut, it's not the best in color grading. Okay,
Mm,
if it's easy, if the file is easy, it's easy to manipulate it and do adjustments that you want. If it's a little bit of hard file, you need DaVinci or you need the Lumetri, because it's like Lightroom. So it's very easy for color grading. Final Cut, when you have an easy file to work with, I believe it's magic. It's fast, it's accurate, quick workflow, boom, boom,
yeah.
boom. Because we're working like that. When you're an editor, when you're a creative artist, you can't delay on that process,
Yeah.
right? You need to do. That's why we're multitasking. We're doing different things together at the same time, because that's what we do, and we need to be with fast turnarounds. We
Yeah,
can't get
totally.
a job and say, okay, I'm gonna send you the first video in 3 months.
Exactly.
You see, you laugh.
Yeah. Do you oh man, I was just thinking of something, but I completely blanked. I don't remember.
I made you lost your thought.
Yeah, totally. So what are some of the things that, I mean, were you always a Final Cut editor? Were you in the original Final Cut as well, or did you transition to X, when the first version came out? What's
To
your
be
story
honest,
with Final Cut?
I tried the Final Cut, the original version, but at the same time, I was working with Adobe Premiere because I'm a Photoshop user as well as a graphic designer and photographer. So I had Photoshop, I had Adobe Premiere, but especially when the 10 came out, the X, and it made everything so more convenient for me. So for me, the workflow was easier. For other people, they say, I learned Premiere, I don't want to go back because I have After Effects as well. So
Yeah.
it's also on what do you do as a video editor. If my workflow was VFX or an artist that I use After Effects a lot, yes, I would consider staying in Premiere and don't even think about Final Cut, right?
Yeah.
But when you do just video editing, that's something that I loved in Final Cut and continued all the way until now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I switched from Final Cut 7 to X like the day it
Okay.
came out, and I've been using Final Cut 10 and since literally the day
Yes,
it came out.
the
So,
day came out.
but I was in a situation where I was working with two other guys and we all switched together and we all collectively decided to switch. We were doing wedding videography and for our workflow it was great. Although,
Keywords, events, like
yep,
favorites.
the
There are a lot
favorites.
of, especially
favoriting
for
is
weddings.
favoriting is one of the biggest selling points for me, and I forget how useful it is. And I think when I show Final Cut to people who don't use Final Cut, they're like, oh wow, that is actually really fast. I just go through all my b-roll, favorite all the best parts, and then just view only favorites, and there you go. So great.
with it, bim, 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 bim on the timeline, and
Yep.
then adjust the cutting. Let's go.
I know, and I think a lot of people don't like the magnetic timeline, but once you learn to harness it, you can really go fast with it, especially for YouTube stuff. So
People need to understand this. Like they need to understand that it's a different. There are great editors between us in our community that they work for a big production and movies and documentaries that uh, when you go to YouTube or a wedding or a commercial or a product, so right, it doesn't require so much hard, process on video editing because at the end is like Frono's photo. Jared, I believe, is from Frono's photo.
uh-huh.
He said one day that if you want to be a good photographer, forget about editing and learn how to frame your shot.
Hmm.
This is also for videos. Like you can be a great video editor, but if you don't have a good starting point of what you have as a shot, it's not going to make a difference. And this is where it comes, especially for YouTube, the storytelling, how you can create a story. A story, it's not always only from video editing. Video
Yeah.
editing is nice, it's trendy, it has this, but yeah, okay. The story, the end, how you're going to, the nice image, like I admire people in our community, and there are plenty to start saying names that you see their videos and they're like photos,
Yeah.
the cinematography, because this is cinematography, how you can have a shot that you can have it into your wall, every shot of the movies that we see.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at your Instagram account here, and you've got some great stuff. But I noticed that you're very active on Twitter,
Hmm.
as I am as well. What are
Every
your
day.
what are your thoughts on Instagram versus Twitter, and why is it that nobody's on Twitter but everybody's on Instagram?
Very good point. Very good point. And I can tell you that I don't have the habit of consistency. I'm
Mhm.
guilty for that.
Me
I
too.
remember, yeah, I remember that I was saying, I'm going to go for one day and have photos and videos for a whole week of Instagram. I did it one time. Then after 2 months, I need to do that again.
Yeah,
No,
seriously.
I believe in Twitter. The good thing is that you have a good interaction. You can scroll out to a lot of different information that it's not only related to what you do. Because, for example, we are photographers or videographers. In Instagram, we used it as a way to showcase our work, right? As we
Yeah.
had Behance or as we had Flickr. What do I say? You see, I told you I'm a boomer. I'm
Flickr.
saying
Yeah, I remember that.
now, Instagram is related to this kind of stuff. And also they get a lot of deals, a lot of jobs through Instagram. If you say I'm a videographer, they say, okay, what's your Instagram? So I can say, what? It's Instagram. It's started for photos. But anyway, on Twitter, it's more interactive. And also you have the ability to tag someone,
Yeah.
even, and he doesn't get it offensive. Like, why you tag me? Like I'm not gonna get a DM from you, okay? I'm not gonna read my DMs, but if you tag me, I'm gonna reply. And you start conversation. Is For me, it's more interactive and it's very funny. Like I like spend my days when I have the time for the social media thing to be on Instagram, to see, for example, who tagged me, to see new conversations, to add comments more easily than Instagram. That also on Instagram, one thing that I find a little bit when you're not a very big account in Instagram with huge followers, right? I don't feel it like great photo, good job. Like I'm not the kind of person that I'm gonna go, for example, to Dave's videos, all the videos, because I like Dave and his videos say, "Hey man, great video as always, keep up." Oh, you crashed with this video, great video. Like I'm not gonna do it. So I don't expect other people to do that as well. And when they
Yeah.
do it,
Yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
little bit wow, like they're doing it. Thank you. But yeah, it's something that I know a lot of people see that differently, right? They're more active also with the comments and to I want to comment when I want to say something that it's a more constructive, even when I say good words. and express my good feelings, I'm going to be a little bit more just of 3 words. Hey, great. Emoji, fun.
Yeah, exactly. So are you making some good little side money now at this point with your YouTube channel, or do you have
I don't
client
see it.
work coming
I,
in, or
I don't see the YouTube as a source of income. Like there are opportunities, but as I started it, I see it as a way that, first of all, I'm doing what I love.
yeah,
I'm building this thing. If eventually goes into a way of me to be a full-time YouTuber, it's very welcomed, right?
sure.
But it's not the goal for that yet. So I just enjoy the process. I'm doing different things, as you saw. I had the Final Cut and I have the Final Cut tutorials, but also I have the gear reviews, and also I will just grab my camera and I will film a video of the guy who tunes my piano because I
Mm.
can. you know, if this changes in the future, it might be a different conversation. But usually,
Sure.
freelancing work in all the different areas that I'm working for the past years.
Gotcha. And is it a fairly expensive place to live in Athens, or is it kind of like middle class out there? Are you able to survive without having to make, millions of dollars basically?
Listen, this is honestly a conversation for a different day, because first of all, we're not America, we're Europe. Also, we're not only Europe, we are a very small place in Europe.
Mm,
The economy, it's not that great,
mm,
and we might say a number, for example, for a rent, and you might say, for example, that 500 or 600 or 700 euros for a house to rent is cheap for you,
mm.
right? Imagine the average monthly salary for a
Yeah.
9 to 5 job is 700 euros per month.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's why I told you. As for the economy side of things, let's don't get
It's a
how we
different
say,
topic.
depressed in this
Sure.
conversation. But
Do you get your work from all over the world though?
yeah,
I would
yeah, yeah,
imagine just through the
yeah,
internet, people work with you. Not your
exactly.
clients aren't in Athens per se. It's all
No,
over.
no, 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 all over, all over.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of internet. That's the beauty
Yeah.
of internet.
That's awesome. Well, what are some of your aspirations and goals for your channel and just things moving forward for you?
Okay, inspirations and goals. What I would love, first of all, is to be healthy during this whole pandemic period, because I know a lot of us had a lot of different dreams and inspirations for what they do, but we realized in a very short period of time that we're nothing, right? We have dreams, we have goals, and someone up there has different plans for all of us
Yeah.
that we can control. So, first of all, I want to stay safe, and I want the channel to have the opportunity to not see it as a job,
Mm,
because this is something that I know from past experience, also with music as well. I don't want to see creating videos as my 9 to 5 job. I
sure.
want to enjoy the whole process. And I'm going to try new things, as I'm trying all the time. I'm going to try new videos. And I'm not sure that I'm going to keep only the videos that they're going to succeed. I'm going to keep videos that I'm going to enjoy making in the
Yeah.
process. So that's the goal for 2021. New experiences, new tests, but also enjoy the whole process. If I'm not enjoying it, and also this is something that I do with the gears. Like when companies reach out and say, "Hey, do you want me to send you this for review?" I say, "You can send it. I can try it. If I like it, I'm gonna make a video. If I don't
Yeah.
like it, I'm gonna return to you.
Yeah.
Thank you."
Exactly.
or if you want, I can post the video.
Well, I think your message and your journey is real inspiring to a lot of our listeners, because a lot of people listening are probably in a similar situation. Maybe they're freelance filmmakers, editors, creators, and they just want to have a creative outlet and just a place to have fun and to create stuff. And I love that you're not looking to make, a ton of money on it. You're focused on having fun and obviously growing and advancing and becoming better at it. And you have been. Your thumbnails, your titles, your view count, it's all going
Thank you.
up. You're able to grow and change. And like I said, if you're not at 30,000 subscribers by the time you listen to this podcast, everybody go over to his channel and subscribe. Even if he already hit 30, let's get him to 40. So Emilio, thank you so much for being on the Golden Hour podcast today, for talking about your journey, for talking about nerdy Apple stuff and Final Cut stuff. That's all the things that I love. So it was great.
So much.
Yeah, it was great to meet you, again in person this time, not just over Clubhouse. But
it was a pleasure, and thank you so much for this opportunity. And I hope when all this COVID madness goes out, we can hang out together, with our friends in a good
absolutely.
place, have a beer, have a whiskey. I love whiskeys.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I love I love like Greek food. I want to come out there and eat some food with you. So
if you ever come to Greece, just send me a message to Twitter. I got you covered.
Oh heck yeah, that'll be fun. Let's do it. Yeah, when we can start traveling again, I'll have to make an Athens trip.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, my friend. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for everything. Have a wonderful day, and again, stay safe. Stay safe.
That's right. Stay safe.